Welcome to the Diner Podcast, where we eat our lunch or breakfast.
Hello,
sir.
welcome to the Diner Podcast.
Why are you rubbing your? What are we? Okay, this is. I understand we don't do these like not near each other very often, but like you still can't start this shit rubbing your nipples. That's not.
Well, for those coming in on podcast land, we're trying something new. We're trying a video version for YouTube and Facebook, and I wanted to start it off on the right foot by exposing myself.
Well, yeah, you see, we're trying to spice up our podcast relationship. We're trying new things. You're pulling your nipple out on the screen, and we're not doing this.
Who knows? I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
This is what happens when I'm not next to you to have a little bit of control on your wildness.
Hey, wild is better. But yes, we are the Diner Podcast. We're trying something new, but we still have a very special guest in studio with it. Well, not in studio, in remote land. Coming to us from Knoxville, Tennessee, Professor Bear.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Oh, another lovely day in wrestling land.
Yeah, I hope I didn't butcher it. You are from Knoxville, right?
Yes, sir.
I remembered.
I love that we sat here and talked this whole time before, and not at one time did he ask any of those things, and then just wung it and hope for the best.
Well, I remember when he was on the Power Slam platter. He said he was from Knoxville, and I remember.
So, just in case I start at any point in time, I just start like drifting back. I'm in a rolly chair, and there's no lock. So every time I put any sort of weight on this chair, I inevitably start rolling back. So if I start rolling away, just no worries. I'll be back momentarily. I'm just sliding off the. Sorry. I like this though, because I took a nap right before we did this. I told my wife I got all the stuff done for this. I got the intro and everything done because obviously, like we said, this is kind of a new adventure for us. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to go lay down for a couple minutes and just kind of calibrate for a second. And then I passed out and she woke me up about 20 minutes before we were supposed to start this and was like, hey, you have a podcast to do. So now I have a slice of pizza next to me and I get to do it from my house, which is very different than normal.
I hope you have pants on.
I do have pants on.
Okay, that's good.
See, look.
Okay.
See?
I saw the indentation. No, I'm scared.
No, it's just a little fella. It won't bite. Don't you?
Well, Professor Bear, welcome to the madhouse. Where we explain ourselves and say dirty things.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're starting off on far. So I have one. I got to start it off with this question. How did you get the name Professor Bear?
So, I have two kids. I have a son and a daughter. And my daughter, she's 24 now, but when she was younger, for whatever reason, she started calling me Bear. And I guess in her eyes, it looked like a big grizzly bear. So I was like, okay, cool. So when me and the co-owner of Wrestling Society Network, Brady Owens, we started off as a podcast first. So I think they heard my daughter call me Bear or something, and he was like, oh man, that's cool. Hey, you mind we call you Bear? I was like, no, I don't care. Then I thought, I was like, wait a minute. Let me check with my daughter, because this is her nickname for me. If she doesn't like it, we can't do it. We'll come up with something else. So she was like, yeah, I'm okay, Dad. They can call you Bear. I said, cool. So the next episode we did, Bear this, Bear that. Well, as soon as we got through with the podcast, Brady was like, you know what, man, you just know everything. You're just a history buff. From now on, you're Professor Bear. I'm like, okay, cool. I like that. And that's how I got my name.
Okay.
It's crazy how those stick. Because that's basically how, like, when we started our podcast, he started calling me Uncle Lump because I always had the nickname Lumpy in high school. and my last name's Lumsden. So I really don't know because there's no P in my last name, but it's like one of those like generational nicknames, which I really don't know why I've never talked about that on this. But yeah,
go
so I
ahead
had
about that. You're like third generation lump.
it's probably more than that because it was like I know like it's just followed my family around, which is even weirder because there's no P in my name, so Lumpy makes it really doesn't make any sense. But whatever, you kind of like get it and go with it. But his daughters always called me Uncle Lump, and that was just kind of we were sitting there, and he was like, "Well, I'm Red Velvet. You need a name of some sort." And he was like, "I'm like, well, your daughters call me Uncle Lump, so we'll just go with that." And then it just kind of stuck from there. That's pretty much how our whole podcast started, though. It was just like, does this sound good? Yeah, fuck it. All right,
sounds good. Let's go out.
And we did it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I operate through life now. Yep, that works.
So when you guys started the podcast, how did that kind of come about when you first started it?
So one day I was in my office here, and I was just going through Facebook like I generally do, and I saw an ad from Brady asking people who if you wanted to be a co-host on the show. I thought about it for a second, and I was like, so I didn't do anything. I just got up and went in the living room with my wife was sitting there, and I told her, I was like, hey, I just saw this ad for wrestling and stuff. She was like, okay, so what the hell are you doing sitting here? I was like, well, baby, nobody don't want to hear me talk about wrestling. I mean, I'm boring.
No, you're not.
She's like, oh, please. She's like, you'll debate with God over anything. So I sat there for a moment, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, baby's right. I will debate with anybody. God, I would debate with God. Yeah, I would say, Lord, please, I'm not trying to be a heathen, but I just think, not that you don't know everything in the world, but my little opinion.
I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I went back into the office, and I think he was asking for interviews. So I taped a little interview, probably like 2-3 minute interview, and I sent it to him. And about an hour later, he hit me up, and we sat and talked 30-40 minutes, and he's been my guy ever since. We've just been doing different projects together ever since.
Oh yeah. So what year was that when that whole thing started?
22, I believe.
22. Okay.
No,
You guys have grown that.
Yeah. 21 or 22. I keep getting the dates mixed up.
So was the network and the website and everything kind of part of it when you started in it, or was that something that's kind of blossomed over the last couple of years?
That blossomed over a couple of years. The network and the website were Brady's idea. So Brady, he started the company in 2017.
Okay.
And he quickly found out that he couldn't do it on his own because he was trying to do podcasts and news and everything, and he just burnt himself out. So he took a little while, got himself together, figured out how he wanted to do it, and then he came up with the podcast. So originally, it was 5 of us. Brady, myself, Clayton, and Tevin, and one other guy. I can't remember his name because he didn't last. And Brady's biggest thing was that, this is fun for us. If you can't do it, you got something, that's fine. But, we just want to give our opinion, do a podcast with our opinions and our looks on wrestling. So the other guy dropped out. Instead of just saying, hey, I don't want to do it or whatever, he just ignored all of it. So it came down to us 4. Tevin had to step out for a little while. to handle his business. So it was just me, Brady, and Clayton. So we just started doing the podcast and stuff. Then Brady saw someone doing a 2K promotion, I think it was. And he was like, man, we could do so much better than them. I was like, yeah, we can, yeah. And then it's like, hey, what would we do if we really own a federation? So we came up with it, and we started doing that. And we set out our first pay-per-view, and I was thinking, man, if we get more than if we get 50 people, it's a success to me. The shock on my face when I saw over 100 people watched it and liked it. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Okay. So we're doing weekly things and doing different projects like that. So Brady's like, man, we need to pick up doing different things for the YouTube page, because everything was YouTube at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to have content. Okay. So he's like, hey, just make something 10, 15 minutes. Clayton was doing his thing. Then it came to me. I was like, man, I was just getting comfortable working with a team. Now I got to do all this by myself. Okay. So I think I came up with Professor Bear's wrestling school or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And the first story I did was about the U.S. Championship, giving the history on it, who held it the most, who was the longest reigning champion. Then the next thing I did was the story on the Road Warriors. So basically, we all came up with different things, and we were going along. And Brady, we were all talking on the phone one night. Brady's like, hey, man, we got over 1,000 views on one video. It's like, what? Wow, who was that? You, Bear? I'm like, Bear, who? You didn't say me, Bear. You must be talking about Yogi and popped in here. Not me. Who in the hell want to watch me? He said, no, seriously. You got over 1,000 views on the Road Warrior. I was like, man, I was stumbling. I couldn't get my words out. He said, I'm telling you, I look at the numbers. And it's like, that was our first 1,000 video. It's like, oh, shit. Okay. So we going along, and we bring in a guy. His name is Gavin, and we go back to doing the podcast because we had slid off by doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. So Gavin is running that basically, and generally it's me and him and one other guy, just because the way schedules worked out. So we're doing that pretty good. And I was like talking to Gavin. And I was like, man, we need to do a show, just me and you. He's like, okay, cool, we can do that. So we came up with the B&B show because his nickname is The Blade. So I was like, yeah, cool, the B&B show. We ran with it, put out some episodes. We personally enjoyed them, having fun, just doing silly stuff. Well, we noticed our views were getting up there, and the 2K promotion was really blowing up because we were getting views around the world. Mm-hmm.
That's always awesome when that starts happening.
It amazed me that people from Russia and India and just all over were looking at our our little wrestling promotion. It's like, golly. So we did our blow off WrestleMania style pay-per-view. When I tell you, we got over 20,000 viewers, that just blew our minds.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Then,
like, want to keep doing it.
Yeah. So we definitely going to do it, but life happens, schedule clash, people are getting burnt out. So people are stepping away and got to handle life stuff. Well, for me, I'm disabled, so I have a lot of free time on my hands. So Brady it was me and Brady just trying to keep the name out there and doing different things. Well, Brady had this ideal, of course, him and his ideals. He's like, man, you know, when I got into wrestling stuff when I was a kid, man, I just wanted wrestling to be on one channel so I could watch all kinds of wrestling. He's like, you know what? We're going to do a network. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, you know, cool, yeah. I'm thinking like 5-6 years down the road when we get stuff. Nah. One day Brady talked, he like, oh yeah, I got our name. It's ours. Anybody use it, we can sue them. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, you are being dead serious about this.
Yep.
It's like, okay. And he's like, man, we need content. He's like, then he got the idea, hey man, there's a lot of content creators out there. Maybe they'll want to be on the network. And it's like, yeah, okay. So we were reaching out to people, and I was like, man, I said it'd be cool if we get some live actual wrestling on there, some indie promotion. So he's like, okay, you over that. Go get us some indie promotions. Well, of course, at first, you know, you trying to explain to people that you're not making any money off of it. You're using their stuff, but they still own it. And we just want to give them a platform. What's the catch? No catch. Yeah, whatever.
That's hard for people to get.
People being nice, like that's such a, because like there's been times where same thing with what we're doing, where like I'll create like these logo graphics or something, and I just fire them off to people, or all like we deal with a lot of indie wrestlers, and I'll see a shirt idea that I'm like, ooh, that's cool, and I'll design it and send it to them, because it takes me 10-15 minutes, and it's like, yeah, who cares? Like, yeah, could I be like, okay, yeah, do people want to pay for this? Absolutely. But I mean, I saw the design, it looked cool, and I'm like, here, have this. This is, if you want to use it, great. If not, you can also tell me to fuck off. I really don't care. I just thought I'd send it. Right. And I think people just aren't used to that, like someone being nice to them.
Yeah, especially in the wrestling business where you hear so many horror stories about they will screw you over any chance they get. So, you know, I'm out there and I'm getting depressed because I'm getting a bunch of no's. Well, Brady gets a couple of promotions. It's like, all right, cool. Then I finally got a yes from a promotion. That's like, all right, cool. And we still building it. Well, it's like, okay, where's the goal of getting this network out here? Because I'm getting these people and I'm telling them these things. I got to have some info so I can give it to them. They're like, man, real soon. Well, we got enough material and everything. We started in March. I'm sorry. Last of March or sometime around there. And to my surprise, people, of course, I started reaching out like, hey, can I do an interview? I just want to push our podcast and our app. And, you know, you have some great individuals like yourself, like, oh, man, that sounds interesting. Yeah. Then you got those who will never contact you instead of just saying, no, we're not interested. Yeah. Again, I understand business or it's not your thing, no problem. But don't just ghost somebody. I just think that's unprofessional.
Well, that was like when you reached out, you sent that email. I was like, yeah, sure. And then you came on the platter. But while we're getting ready, before I sent the invite, Jared goes, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "A guy named Bear. That's all I know." He goes, "Do you know anything about him?" Nope. We're just gonna we're practicing with live ammo here. We're gonna have fun. But I mean, that's what we like about our platform is, you know, just about anybody can be on here. It ain't that hard. You really just gotta ask.
I'll be totally honest. I had my finger the first time. Anytime we get somebody new on, especially when we're live, I have my finger right here because worst case scenario,
of course.
it doesn't matter. I can end someone's time on here in about a split second, and you no longer get to talk anymore. So I'm usually like pretty cognizant of that portion of it. But yeah, he was just like, "Hey, we're interviewing this guy named Professor Bear. I have absolutely no information, so this is what we're doing." I'm like, "Sweet, let's have fun." But I kind of want to dive into like with what you were talking about. I don't think people quite understand, and the way you were doing it kind of inspired me a little bit because there was a lot of similarities with you guys' journey and the way ours has transpired. And like everything can be content. So there's a lot of it. And then you get these like-minded brains working on things together. And that's kind of how you get that good flow. But boy, is that burnout real. That it's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to stay on top of. And obviously social media has its own, form of issues and, like causing the negativity, whatever. So when you create your business there, and obviously you want to be able to share your stuff, you want to be able to interact with other people's stuff, because obviously it's marketing, it's beneficial, you're helping people, whatever. It makes it very difficult because then you spend way more time than you want to on social media. And it's like, okay, I got to find some sort of balance here where I'm not driving myself batshit crazy because I feel like I'm missing this or I need to do that. And it's hard because like we literally just went through this where I talked to him for like an hour the other day where I'm like, hey, I got to get some things together because I'm struggling. But I know like for me, it was me in my head. It was me like dealing with life, whatever. And it kind of compounds. But that burnout, when you mentioned that is, I don't think people quite understand like, you're just doing a podcast. You're just doing this. Like if you want to make this a real thing, you have to devote an excessive amount of time and effort and creativity and thought. Like my day, the last 3 days, what is today? Wednesday? I don't even know what today is.
Wednesday.
The last 3 days, I told him, I was like, I need to get myself out of this funk. So I am going to just go really hard and I'm going to get everything in our business tied up. Like I want to create new things. I'm going to put together new things. So I'm like, I'm going to drive you crazy, but I'm going to do a lot of things in the next month because I need something to do to occupy that, I guess. So while that burnout's real, whenever I checked out, I realized how much I love it also. So I was like, I have to get back to doing this.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Right, like, and it's funny that you brought it up like that. Like in my personal life, I'm having some issues with my mother, and I'm just going to say, like, it's not that great what I'm dealing with. But Brady, no matter what, the first thing he told me that family's first. If I need to step away, if I need a break, I'm tired, whatever, feel free. Because he understands it's family first. So when I told him about my situation with my mother, he was like, okay, what you need? You need to step away, blah, blah. I was like, nah, I'm diving more into it. I said, because that is helping me cope with everything going on and not making me mad. So I thought, yeah. And he's been surprised because we got a new show out, a watch-along show, and he was like, hey, you sure you want to do it? Man, come on. If I don't want to do it, I'm going to tell you that. Get it up. Let me. I like Professor Bear will be as soon as them cameras on. Professor Bear is on.
Yep.
And so that's how I've been rolling, and it's like I said, it's therapeutic for me because easily I could flip out and be all sad and stuff, but I know my mother wouldn't want that, and I have this. Again, it's just therapeutic. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like with a partnership or any sort of business, it's like a pendulum the whole time. Like here, everybody's putting 50-50. Here, one's doing 90-10. And it's just a constant pendulum. And sometimes I was down today because I was just like, every time I got on social media, if we didn't know the election was on, and it just flooded it. And I'm like, I don't give a crap either way. I'm like, I just got to post my stuff and get off the internet. And I was sitting here in my house like, this is awful. So I had to do what I had to do and move on.
Interestingly enough, it's so similar to kind of the wrestling world that, and I think it's all kind of done by design. We've talked about this a bunch of times, but like it's a kind of similar with like the Cody Crybaby thing. No matter who would have won or lost, they didn't get the way they wanted. So one group's going to be mad and the other group's going to talk shit. And it's like, instead of that, have normal, honest conversations with each other, brainstorm different things, like, especially in the wrestling world, have fun with the political world. There may not be any saving the political world. Who knows? Like, I have no idea. It's hard to pay attention to, and it is baffling. So, but at the end of the day, we can't change who won or lost. What happened. So talking shit to each other at an aggressive level on either side, whether you're gloating because you won and you're talking shit to the other side, or pissed because you lost, either way, you didn't learn how to lose very well. And this is why it's very important, youth coaches, to teach kids how to win and lose, not just be solely focused on winning, because some people need to learn how to fucking lose. And also people need to learn how to win with grace. It's kind of a problem on both sides.
Yes. Since you brought it up like that, that's why I hate everybody gets trophies. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard and had in my life, because it's like, if you didn't earn that, what's the point? You have to, just like you said, you have to learn how to win with grace. You have to learn to lose with grace.
Yeah.
Everybody can't win. Everybody's going to lose. It's the way you handle it.
Well, the problem is so many people live in fear that their kid's not going to be good enough, that they're not going to be good enough, that life didn't work out the way they thought it was. And then they live vicariously through their kid, whatever. But then it generates this toxic competitiveness, and that's not the same thing. Competitiveness and being a dipshit is not the same thing. Like, you can be competitive and want to win, but also be a good fan, be a good parent, be a good coach. Those are all part of the game as well. The winning portion is just the portion that you're striving for. That is the goal. But there are other things that are going to happen. You have to maintain your ability to not look batshit crazy in the moment and be able to teach these kids, be able to cheer these kids on in the correct way, so you don't create this batshit crazy environment of these people who don't think it's okay to lose. Like, is it fun to lose? Fuck no. Nobody wants to lose. But if you don't teach kids how to lose, or you don't, then you get these batshit crazy adults that put all their eggs in one basket of sports, of dance, of it really doesn't matter. Pick your poison. And then you have these people who are like damn near lost their mind because this is like the end all be all of life. And it's like, hey, take a step back. Look at what's going on in the world. Look at what's around you. Like, just quit bitching about politics, quit bitching about this, and just take care of what you need to take care of. Take care of your family. Use that energy to make yourself better every day. If you're pissed off, use that energy to go to the gym. If you're pissed off, use it to start that platform you've always wanted to start. If you're happy, use that energy to go be a better dad, go be a better mom, be a better worker, whatever it is. Use that energy for a good thing instead of using it to just sit on social media and talk shit to people.
Mm-hmm. I had a
went very ranty there.
It's okay. I had a football coach one time. He's actually going to come on the podcast later this month. Shout out to Hot Mike. There's 3 rules: be a man, do your job, no excuses.
Good.
That's a good mantra through life. So shout out Coach Rendon.
Yep.
Sir.
But real quick about your federation, is that a weekly show or?
Yeah, so we're just good. We're gonna have it back up in the next couple of weeks, and it's our second season. And it's gonna be 2 main shows and 2 secondary shows. So, because it started off as one federation, then we broke off into like SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be that, and then we're gonna have pay-per-views. Each one to have their pay-per-views, and then the big one, both of them come together.
Okay. And your roster, how is your roster made up? It's made up. Is it made of like the guys on the game, or hodgepodge of everybody, or?
So it is. We started off with the fans of the show. We invited them to be wrestlers because who doesn't want to live out their dream, even in a video game?
Yep.
So we started there. Then we got this great idea. Hey, let's get some indie guys in here and put them on. So there's a mix of fans and indie wrestlers.
Nice.
So we use our guests for our podcast and we add them to ours, which we need to get back into doing. We have not done one in a while, but we also need to add some of our indie favorites too. That's a great idea. Then I could beat the shit out of Sam Knight in the game.
He's already in the game.
Oh,
I already made him. Yeah.
I need to fight him. I want to have a match against Sam in our next one. I'm calling him out. We'll see what happens in the ring.
I get busy. I got the new college game, and we created the Diner Pod Dragons, and our guests are recruits. So I'm playing through the season, and we're absolute dog shit right now, but we're grinding. But yeah, that's another game we have.
Yeah, on top of doing the wrestling stuff and dealing with my mother, I always put at least 2 to 3 hours aside for college football so I can relax.
Oh yeah,
that's on my Christmas list.
Yeah. Last night when I was live streaming, by the way, spoiler alert when this comes out, we lost to Purdue in the season opener. It was my fault. Coach. It was my fault, but I ended up making a new friend on TikTok, and I played my first online game. I got destroyed by a 13-year-old kid. He was very nice, by the way. He goes, hey I'm going to run this play. And I go, okay, cool. And he scored on me.
Time out. You cannot be meeting 13-year-old boys on the internet, sir. This is not going to go well for. I don't know if you've watched the news at all lately, but like we can't be having you meeting 13-year-old boys on the internet.
I wouldn't do that stuff. We played football. He actually had to show me how to do it because I couldn't figure out how to get on the line thing. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy you made a friend, but however, maybe
making friends online.
I mean, fair enough. This is how that you're going to end up. He's going to invite you somewhere, and you're going to show up, and that Chris Hansen guy is going to be sitting in the chair, like, "No, I just wanted to play football. I promise."
Come over to the house. We can play. He'll probably beat me in that game too. I am god awful at that game.
I just wanted to play against him in person. I swear.
And I told him, I go, this is why I play by myself because I suck that bad, and it does not have my confidence whatsoever.
I'm just gonna let that one go. I'm not even gonna hammer that one.
Whatever. I don't care anymore. I just it is what it is.
Man.
So let me tell y'all how I got into wrestling.
Thank you. Great segue, sir. True professional. Pull us out of the weeds here.
So I started in the wrestling because of my father. He was a big wrestling fan. And of course, most times when dad into something, that means everybody got to be into it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So dad would take us to the local wrestling every week or two. And we just became big fans. Of course, for me, it stuck more than me and my oldest brother.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the 80s, 6:05 on Saturday meant everybody shut up. If you come to the house, you better not ring that doorbell.
It's wrestling time.
All the friends knew, get them out the house before then. After that, if it was summer, you wait until 8 o'clock when it was over with. Then you could get or come over, but never during that.
Nope. And was that Georgia Championship Wrestling?
Georgia Championship Wrestling. And on top of that, I'm gonna tell you how realistic everything was about this. We had a dog, and his name was Prince. Prince was so smart that he could ring the doorbell when he was ready to come in.
Oh, that's awesome.
So even Prince knew not to ring the doorbell during that time frame.
He's like, Dad's gonna beat my ass if I ring the doorbell.
Well, hey, you got to learn.
So, let me tell
When
you
wrestling's
this.
on, the world shuts down. I don't care what anybody.
Yes, it did. So I tell you a good story my brother told me because I was real young and I couldn't remember it. But it would just happen to be just me, my dad, and my two brothers go to the wrestling. And walking in, I can't remember the wrestler. He told me, but he pulled my brother aside and he's like, "Hey, you want to do a favor for me?" My brother's like, "Okay." He's like, "Where you sitting?" And we just happen to have front row seats. He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Look, I'm gonna give you this chain. I need you to hide it on your shirt." My brother's like, "Okay, no problem." So match go on, and the ref takes a bump. So the wrestler jumps out the ring. Tell my brother, give it to him. My brother gave him the chain. He slid back in there, and he beats the living crap out of the guy.
Oh my!
Beat him. When I say beat him, blood was everywhere.
Oh,
So after the match, guess what the wrestler did for my brother?
gave him a T-shirt.
Nope. He
Oh.
signed his shirt for him.
Oh,
That was
cool.
it.
Man, you should have
Oh.
gave him the chain back. Gave him the bloody
Right.
chain.
Exactly. And I couldn't remember who he told me, but to have experiences like that, it's like, wow. And the time I met, Ernie the Cat Ladd.
Oh,
So my parents were big card players. And they had a friend who ran a card house, gamble and whatever. So, and this is the 80s now. So, you could get away with stuff like leaving the kid at home by herself or, sitting in the car by herself or whatever. Well, for whatever reason, my mother was going there. And I don't know if my brothers and sisters wasn't home or whatever, but she asked me if I wanted to go. Well, I'm like, okay. And she said, well, Thunderbolt Patterson is supposed to be there. I'm like, Thunderbolt Patterson? Let's go. All right. So I'm in the car before her. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get me Thunderbolt. So we get there. We go downstairs, make the corner. And I'm like looking around, where's Thunderbolt? Where's Thunderbolt? It's Ernie the Cat Ladd. Now, as a kid, he's a monster.
yes.
I think he was like 6'3". So, I see him and it's like, you can come over and get an autograph from him. He's like, hey, how you doing? I look up at him. You ain't Thunderbolt Patterson. And I turned to my mom. I said, Mom, can I go wait in the car? She's like, yeah. And I went mad and sat in the damn car and didn't get on.
This is some bullshit. This is not what I wanted.
Thunderbolt. Should have been like, where's Thunderbolt? I can't see him.
So imagine as a kid, you are sitting here meeting this legend.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, again, a sweetheart of a guy. And I just like,
Yeah.
I have a similar story. So WCW Thunder came to Terre Haute, just about 20 minutes away from us. And my brother got to go. He was in high school. I was in elementary school. He got tickets. He didn't take me like a jerk. And I said, hey man, if you go, get a Sting mask. That's all I want is a Sting mask. And he's like, I got you, man. So I'm all so excited. I wake up Friday morning. I said, hey man, did you get that Sting mask? He goes, here. He threw me a Diamond Dallas Page t-shirt. And I'm like, what is this? This is awful.
Not what I asked for.
I had to wait till I was 30 years old to get that Sting mask.
Were they just out of Sting masks, or did he just say,
I
fuck
don't
it,
know.
got
I
you?
didn't ask. I was so mad by that time. I did wear the shirt to school, but I was still angry about it.
Did he go with your dad?
No, he went with like his friends.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
I
say
think
to
he
this
took a
day, you've
girl.
never asked your dad, like, why the hell did you not just get me my match?
No, I think he took a girl because it was high school, and at that time in the '98, wrestling
makes
was
sense.
hey, I might get some little but by taking this girl to the wrestling show. But the week prior, I think it was the week prior,
Yeah,
maybe a couple
They
weeks
go
prior.
into like Cinemax softcore porn there for a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s. So
They did. So I
had
actually
that
just
going
watched
for you.
Unforgiven 1998, and they had the first evening gown match with Sable and Luna, and I was like, wow,
Whoa.
35 years old. Wow. And that's when the house cleaner came in this morning and scared the absolute crap out of me. That was awful.
Oh, that's why she scared you. You were having a little me time.
No, I wasn't doing that. I think
Oh,
she came in. She came in during the Inferno match with Kane and the Undertaker. But I was sitting there eating lunch, and I hear voices, and I'm like, "What? Is there somebody here?" And then all of a sudden, she's peeked her head, and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like
I thought you were gonna say it was you versus yourself in an Inferno match. Things were getting quite hot.
no. So I texted my wife. I said, "Hey, just so you know, the house cleaner scared the crap out of me." She goes, "Why were you walking around butt naked?" I go, "Well, not at that moment in time, but."
No, just half.
I go, I was actually eating lunch, eating my nachos because it's National Nacho Day, and she scared me. Yeah. Anyway,
You gotta start paying attention when she's there.
I never know when she's coming. I just know it's not every week. It's a Wednesday, but it's like every other Wednesday, and I get confused. I'm not a smart person.
Okay, hold on.
No.
Everything else in your life is on this calendar. You're telling me that is not on any of your calendars that you have?
Yeah.
You should start adding it.
I like to be surprised. Keeps life interesting.
You need to set up cameras in the diner. That way, when this shit happens, there's just like a ring footage of the dumb shit that happens while you're in the diner.
There is a camera in here. I don't think it's charged, but it's also facing the other way, so it's looking at the back wall.
So double whammy. It's dead and not pointed at anything but a wall. That's not going to do a whole lot for us.
Yeah.
But the amount of content I feel like we could get from installing a Ring camera into the diner would be astronomical.
That is true.
That could be a solid podcast expense that we just order one and we just stick it in the diner somewhere. So then it's just a motion censored camera for.
Are you sure you want that kind of footage, bud?
No, I will not have. You'll have to just decipher like if something
Oh, okay.
when I'm there or that you need. No, I don't need film and footage of your shenanigans in the diner. I do not need any bit of that. I'm good. I need no access. I don't need a nanny cam for the diner. That would probably scar me for life, I think. If
we're not. Yeah. Oh well. Hey, Professor, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What is that belt behind you, the blue one?
That is the NWA World Tag Team title.
Ooh, what year?
Oh, that's sweet.
86.
Okay.
And right above it is the U.S. title from the same time period.
Oh, the United States heavyweight title?
Yes. My personal favorite.
Mm-hmm. That was the design right before they went to like the typical WCW one, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Which I think that one was the best design they've ever had.
Absolutely.
Just for my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big NWA mark. That
Yep.
to me, that shaped who I am as a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the Horsemen, Sting, Luger, Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, the Steiners, Kevin Sullivan, all those guys. To me, that was the perfect wrestling ever.
Yeah. How do you?
So do you think it was the way they worked, the storytelling, the style? Like, what was it that you felt like resonated with you from that era?
The storytelling, the style, and the realism that they did. I mean,
yeah.
When they jumped Dusty Rhodes in the parking lot of the Turners, where their office was, do you know how many people called in to the police to report that they had to actually
That's great.
calm them down and let them know it was just a work angle?
Wow.
Well, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's where social media kind of ruined that. But you can still do it to an extent. You can keep, and they do it a little bit here and there where, like, the WrestleMania stuff when you had Rock, Roman, Seth, and Cody all on the stage, and then you had the backstage stuff. Like, you add that realism to it, and it's just like every other workplace. There's people who legitimately don't like each other, that don't get along, that get annoyed by this or that. Use those. Like, I don't know. Everybody's so scared to just be honest. Like, if you don't like something, just say it, fix it, and move on. It's very simple, but people don't like that brute, like, honesty, I guess. But I wish in wrestling they would find that and have the balls to be like, you know what? I really don't like this person. Like, they annoy the shit out of me. And let's figure out a way to use this into a storyline, or however, real life animosity, or come up with something that you've dealt with in real life and use that as your story, because then you pull that emotion, and that's what gives you that suspense of disbelief when you're watching it, where it's like, even if you're deep into it and every single thing about the wrestling world, you follow on social media, the ins and outs, the spoilers, like, there's even sometimes they'll do stuff where you even get those guys where it's like, oh, hey, whoa, was that real? Was that? And that's what it's missing. I wish they would get back to that realism and not being afraid to, like, go full bore into the heel, go full bore. Like, don't be afraid to talk some shit, say some real things that are going to pull some heartstrings or some insecurities. Like, there's so many ways you could go about it that brings people in with that realism.
Yeah. And, that's something I said a few times to people. I was like, we are us smart marks. When you fool us, when you get us invested, then you have did your job. And I love it. As much as I consume wrestling, when I'm fooled, and not just some lucky, oh shit, go with it. But when they put the time, the effort, the psychology into it, that's what I really love about wrestling.
Well, I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I'm watching it, if you're watching it consistently and you're kind of following along weekly, or you're at least staying up to date with it, you can almost kind of see where they're taking it. Obviously, they're going to sometimes swerve you, whatever, but for the most part, you can kind of see the writing on the wall of, like, oh, okay, they did that, they did this, and they do a very good job of hiding it. But there's a lot of little things they could do that would kind of, I don't know, extenuate that process and make it kind of a little more believable, or a little more to where you don't know. And obviously they can't swerve you every time. They can't do the, big finish that you didn't think was coming, whatever. So you're going to have some predictability in that world, especially when you kind of know what's going on. But there's a lot of ways they can, I feel like, do things a little bit differently, rather than kind of like, ooh, this was shades of Undertaker Michaels this time, or this was shades of, where it's like they're doing different things, but there's a lot of repeated things mixed in as well.
Well, and unfortunately, though, that's wrestling, because most wrestling is just a repeat of something else. And it depends on your knowledge of wrestling if you can catch it or not. Like, one of the things that when Luger went to WWF and he was doing the narcissist gimmick, I was just like, man, that's nothing but Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a damn near copy of it. And it's like, okay, it's all right, but I don't want Rick Rude. I want a Luger. I want what Luger had brought before. So, and I get it. I get what you're saying. And it's hard for them to come up with new different stuff.
Well,
like, the best time, well, not the best time, but one of the times why I like Territorial days is because you didn't have your mainstream audience that watched it. It depends on where you live. That's what you were getting. So if you, like me living in Knoxville, I didn't get a chance to see Portland wrestling.
Yeah.
They ran angles in Portland that worked Portland. Well, a guy come down to Georgia, they can run that same angle to Georgia because most of us don't know that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and one of the big ones, like with the NWA in the 80s, I love their angles and stuff, but it was a repeat of Crockett doing the Mid-Atlantic stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, especially as a kid, and hell, I don't know that stuff, but I was smart enough to recognize, like, wait a minute, something looks familiar here. So that's the disadvantage of the internet and stuff now.
True. Well,
But
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but one of the great things about the internet, and like I always say now, it's the resurgence of the territories because people want to see different styles and different. And it's so easy now. We're blessed that if we sit down, we can just pull up we find out about an organization, we can pull it up on YouTube, or if they got their website, we can pull up their website.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're blessed in that way. You can learn about different wrestlers and stuff. But
How do you
go ahead?
How do you feel about the NWA bringing back the territories? They just, I think they just locked up their 5th one just
Right.
last week.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you, I love it and hate it because the reason I hate it because I was trying to do business with that territory.
Oh,
and this is the third. I no lie, this is the 3rd territory that I tried to do business with. That they're like, well, we're working with the NWA. I'm like, dang it.
Well, here, I'll get public service announcement. Professor Bear is your new recruiter because apparently you're taking all his talent.
Yeah.
And, but see, this is something I tried to offer to the NWA too.
Oh, really?
And they may not take us serious. They may not even got my email, but I gave them, I'm like, look, if you come on our platform, we can get you time slots to all your shows. You wouldn't have to worry about pay-per-views. We can cover that. We can do a lot for promotions.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
And that's why I like it, because you have different territories, so you're going to have different wrestling styles. And with the NWA backing them, they can have, once the NWA gets some TV again, you can go and say, hey, this is here. I can watch it here. And that in part gives you new audience, give you more people to learn about your product, and you can get invested in it. And so that's another reason why with the network, we are trying to do something similar to that. We want people to see different styles, different territories, different storylines you may get into that you may not have known existed, that you didn't know. Hey, let's just be real. It's a pain in the ass to go search for something on the internet. It really is.
Yes,
there's too many damn companies.
Yeah. So if we're already have the company for you, we have a list of companies, wouldn't you be more likely like, hey, I'm going to get the WSN app because they already got this. I don't have to go look.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, they get new promotions. Plus, on top of that, it's free. What the? Is that not a win-win?
So is that kind of the ultimate goal, is to get as many companies on there and turn it into like almost a full-fledged, like, I think there's another one, is it the IWTV? Is that what Hybrid's on?
Yeah.
Or is it you? I mean, obviously you guys have a little more in depth, which I haven't been on theirs but one time, I think. But is that kind of the goal of what you guys are trying to do, is create something where you have this like one-stop shop for everything, essentially independent wrestling, whether it's like, you know, watching the videos, going on and finding the podcast? Is that kind of the goal of what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, I think just the one-stop shop is the best way of putting it. Because wrestling, most people think when they hear wrestling, they think wrestling is one-dimensional. Well, it's not. There's so many different styles of wrestling. There's different types of territory. There's different type of podcasters. There's different types of cartoons. There's movies. There's so much different things on wrestling. So we're going to give the audience a variety.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, like I was saying about 2K promotions, there are other 2K promotions out there, but not to brag on ours, but I just think ours give it more in depth. And not only do we have a 2K promotion, we got a wrestling figure promotion that we use, and they are amazing. Honestly, as a kid, as a teenager, I'm not even going to tell a lie. As a teenager, I still had wrestling figures that I didn't get rid of. I built my own federation. And how I used to do it is I didn't even make up the rule. It was like, okay, coin flip. Whatever the coin flipped, that's how I booked it. And did the storylines. I just had fun with it. So that's why I think
I got a whole box of them right behind me.
Yeah. So, it's so much out there. And then there's collectors. You can see people collecting video games. Behind me, I got tons of video games. Hell, I'm trying to get every pro wrestling game for every system I have. And I got everything pretty much for the different PlayStation. Now I'm going over getting Japan games.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm putting, and it's just a passion of mine. So I'm doing that. But then, like I said, you got cartoons that did wrestling. We got it on on our app. We got movies that are with wrestlers in it. We have on the app. We just try to give people so much different content. Like a lot of people like documentaries. We got documentaries on there. We got bios to learn. Hopefully, real soon, we'll have some older wrestling that people can watch that you've never seen before. Like older people like myself may have, but for the younger viewers who like to learn from that, to just see different styles and stuff, and maybe they'll get inspiration. Thank you. Inspired by something they've seen somebody else do and come up with a collage and stuff. So it's just for the true wrestling lovers, I like to say.
Now, if there's a promotion out there that would want to get on the app, how would they get in touch with you?
The best way of getting in touch with me is on Facebook at Professor Bear. That's the best way to get me.
Okay.
And do you want to promote the website and the app and everything else one more time before we let you go, kind of where they can find it?
Yes. It is the website is thewrestlingsociety.com. And a few things that I love about the app, the website is we have a part of it is called the podcast room. And we have some of our favorite podcasters listed on there. So, and people can click on it and it will take them to their sites so they can look at previous interviews and stuff. And
that's awesome.
After the first one we did together, I put y'all on there.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's just because podcasting, like everything else, we all have different flavors. So give people a chance to learn it. And it's a thank you to the podcasters. Because everybody's different. Maybe they don't like the way I talk about wrestling, but they may love the way y'all do it. So hey, I'd rather give you fans than take away from your fans.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Well, and in this
Absolutely.
world, like there's room for everybody. Wrestling is as hot as it's been in forever. There's 1,000 different indie promotions. There's a literal show every single night of the week. You can watch some sort of bigger show. I mean, it's the best time for wrestling, and obviously everyone has a different opinion. You have a different voice, and people are going to gravitate you if they like you, if not. So we always kind of have that same thought of like just build everybody up. Like we've tried to get a lot of people to do podcasts for that reason. Like, hey, it's not going against us. Like you're doing a whole different topic. Let's dive into it.
exactly. And another thing, we were talking about the indie scene. Man, the indie scene has never been hotter. You see with the WWE ID,
Yeah,
they're
that's
out
going to
there.
be big.
But before that, man, who was standing up for the indie guys? So we came up with the Indie Wrestler of the Week, and you can vote. It's fan driven, so you can vote. Somebody you watch at your local promotion, you can vote on it. And if you get enough votes, we'll put you on there. Matter of fact, after I get done with the podcast, I got to go update it for this week. But and then
How do you
go ahead.
How do you feel about a Friday wrestling show stealing that idea and utilizing that on their platform by chance? I really like
Man,
that.
Hey, I love it. Again, I don't get mad because everybody balls and takes from different people.
Absolutely.
And again, it'd be different if it was money. And even then with money, the biggest thing is I'm a fan first. Yep. I never, ever thought I would be able to talk about wrestling and do what I am doing for wrestling. So this is, man, a win for me.
Absolutely.
And for the help, if I can help a younger guy get to their dream by promoting them, man, that's just icing on the cake.
Oh, I love it.
And then
go ahead, sorry.
This real quick. And of course, we can't forget about the managers and the valets and the ring announcers and the commentary team. People don't, and the referees, they don't get any credit. And if it wasn't for them, it cannot be a wrestling match or show. So we've made a secondary personality of a week, and we have it where you can vote for them. And just to give recognition, because again, most people are doing it to try to move up to the big time. Some are doing it just for the love, but we just want to give back credit and tell them thank you. Your effort is not going unwatched, and people like you. They feel you deserve it. So why not give credit?
Well, and I don't think people understand what these guys do to their body for the little amount of money. Obviously, it's not about the money. It's about getting that film. It's about, for some of them, like you said, moving on to the next level. Some of them just legitimately love it and they would do it for free. They're just having fun being there. But what they do to their bodies for that amount of money and like just for the love of what they're doing and the hopes of getting there, like we try to do the same thing of promoting it as much as possible, because a lot of these guys are incredible at what they do.
Yes, they are.
If somebody, so how would they, like an independent wrestler of the week or manager of the week, how do we get that info to you? Just message you on Facebook?
There's links. If you go on the website, there's a link. Vote, you click it, and it goes to the appropriate person on our team, and they get the information. And let me shout out the people who are behind the scenes that don't get the recognition. I always try to give them love, because it's not just me. It's not Brady. Yes, you probably see my face more than any one of us, but I'm just a small piece into our group. They do so much. And again, it's not like we're paying them. Their love, their dedication is a team thing and almost like family. So, hey, I like to give Larry and and shouts out because they help us tremendously, and I always love to give them shout out. So
Absolutely.
and I'm sorry, one other thing.
No, go ahead.
We got a list of wrestling schools on there. So if you wanting to be a wrestler, go check out these different wrestling schools. Now, we are not promoting go to A, B, or C. We're telling you there is A, B, and C. So do the due diligence and your research. But we're giving, like I said, trying to make it easier for people to go somewhere to find different things. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm working on trying to get a list of promotions on the website. When I tell you that is a whole entire thing that I have not been able to put any time in because I'm doing other things, but hopefully by the end of the year, maybe the first of the year, we can get that on there.
Good luck with that. You only have about 7 million of them to add, so I wish you the best of luck.
Now, your app, where's it at? What platforms?
Our app is on Roku, it's on Apple TV, it's on Amazon, it's on Fire Stick, and it's under WSN. So that's all you got to put in. You don't have to spend any money. Now I'm just going to be straight honest because I try to always be honest. It is free now, but after a while, we're going to have to start putting some money behind it. And it's not going to be something crazy. I can promise you it's not going to be like, $50 or nothing like that. It's going to be junk food money.
Yeah.
As I like to call it, because we all spend like $10-20 on junk food.
Yep.
And then it's like, I can't believe that. Well, at least with wrestling, you'll have all this, but it's not now. I just want to pre-warn people.
Absolutely. Well, people need to go check it out while it's free right now.
Yes.
And enjoy it. So,
well, thank you so much for giving us so much time. We appreciate you coming back on and giving us a little more long form of an interview.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad. So let me tell you one quick story that my brother told me that I have to tell the world.
Yes.
So my oldest brother, I told you about him and the wrestler getting the chain. Well, my brother, he was working at a car rental ship in Atlanta. And so he met a bunch of different wrestlers, cool with them and everything. Well, my brother finally decided he was going to be a wrestler. He decided, I'm going to do this. Guess who was his trainer?
Who?
Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh my goodness.
Shit. That's
he
awesome.
learned some hard stuff, I bet.
Yep.
He learned in 2 weeks wrestling wasn't for him.
I learned in one day.
He said that he was running the ropes. Just, they got to get that cardio up, running the ropes. He said he was running the ropes, doing what they were telling him. All of a sudden, Abdullah stopped him while he was running. He said he's never in his life got hit as hard. And it was open palm now. That he said right after that, he told them, you know what? I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm just going to watch from the other side of the highway.
This shit's way more real than I thought. It's no longer for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm surprised he didn't pull any forks, did he?
No.
Right.
And even if he did, hell, it probably been better than the chop. I swear. And you got to understand, my brother, my oldest brother, me and him are big guys. Now I'm taller than him, but we go about close to the same weight. So when he told me that he got hit that hard, and I could see, when your brothers are lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the tear in his eye that he was about to cry again from just remembering the chop.
He was telling that story feeling that again.
Yeah. But hey, y'all got to have me on. I have so many different stories that will crack y'all up.
Oh yeah.
We could
Yeah.
just have like a whatever, however we want to do it, something with the professor, like class with Professor Bear every like once a month. We just have our whatever wrestling class with Professor Bear.
That's right. Class time with the Professor Bear.
Yeah, night school.
Like it.
Got his doctorate at Body Slam University.
That's what we'll call it. Body Slam U.
I love it.
I said you.
Little BS.
Yeah.
That's a good shirt too. Body Slam
Yeah,
University.
There we go. Or Bullshit University, one of the two.
Yeah,
I don't
either
know.
way, however you want to call it.
So,
We have lots of wrestling shirts that need to come out.
they're going to.
I was just about to say, I am making some shirts now, so don't be surprised if y'all see that pop up.
Yeah,
Nice.
we are in the same boat. We have a bunch of ideas ready to rock, and we're just trying to get everything ironed out so we can get them out there. But we've been having some fun with it too.
Oh yeah, it's tons of fun. But thank you again for coming on.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for being a great podcast, man. And thank y'all for just doing what y'all do, because like I said, we're just a community, and I can tell you 95% of the people I've met are just wonderful people. It's that 5% that they're lucky we are online and not face to face.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely.
No
I'm glad we got
Yeah.
to meet you. Thank you again for coming back and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Man, anytime y'all want me, I'll be there.
Absolutely.
yeah, we
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Have a
At
good
this
rest of your
time.
night.
Y'all
Yes.
do the same.
At this time, I want to thank those gold sponsors for letting us do what we do. Oh, we got a graphic. All right, cool.
I made a new one. I told you we had new everything.
U.S. Lawns, they mow grass. Peak Performance Gym, no peak, no results. Wabash Valley Plumbing, they lay pipe. That's our slogan, it's not theirs. Wabash Valley Adult Teen Challenge, meeting you at the crossroads of addiction. RJ's Formal Wear, they have sweet suits. Stitched, embroidered in apparel, they embroider stuff. Pappy's Barbecue, meat, eat, repeat. Thank you to all our sponsors.
And I didn't spell anything wrong, which made me even happier.
I
I
didn't even
just-
check that. I was in the zone.
I didn't really pay any attention to it. I just threw it together earlier when I was in the midst of all my other creations. And I was like, I went through it and I think I checked everything, but it was one of those where I was like, all right, I have to get all this stuff done so I can move on. So I've even I took our normal outro music from the podcast and I even created us a cool little outro for this also.
Oh.
So
I can't wait to hear it.
whenever you're ready to tell me that you love me, then we'll
Well,
move
with
on about our
that-
night.
With that, keep pushing. Love you.
Love you.